Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this regular meeting of Fernie City Council held on April 22nd, 2025, Earth Day 2025. Kisukukit, we acknowledge that the city of Fernie is located within Kukanamakas, the unceded territory of Yakutat Nucleate First Nation. We recognize that we work and live, we live and work within their vast lands. Akanahunik are from Yakutat Nucleate and are members of the Ktunaxa-speaking peoples of British Columbia, Idaho, and Montana. A couple of things. In honor of Earth Day, I want to give a shout out to young Fernie citizen Aubrey Marks. He's 5 years old, and he's taken on a personal mission of cleaning up bottles and cans around the community as the snow has melted. And I've received a couple of pictures from his grandmother, which I will share with council. As well, next week, April 27th to May 3rd is National Volunteer Week. And we'd like to share our appreciation for all the volunteers in our community and those that support the city on committees, working groups, events, amenities, and services. Thank you for donating your time and effort. It does not go unnoticed, and it certainly makes this community a better place. As well, just to mark the occasion, next Monday, April 28th, is the National Day of Mourning that recognizes workers killed in the workplace across our country. I will call the meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. and ask for a mover and a seconder for the following staff recommendation that the agenda of the April 22nd, 2025 regular meeting be adopted. Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor Shoesmith. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. And I'll ask for a mover and a seconder for the following staff recommendation that the minutes of the April 8th, 2025 regular meeting be adopted. Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor Nixon. Any discussion on those minutes? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. I'll now open the floor to public participation and invite those participating electronically who wish to comment on items listed on the meeting agenda in accordance with section 3.7.3 of the procedure bylaw to address council, except speakers must not address council regarding a matter for which a public hearing must be held or has been held pursuant to the Local Government Act prior to council's consideration of the matter or adoption of the bylaw. Speakers must not address council regarding a permit for which public notice must be given or has been given pursuant to the Local Government Act prior to council's consideration of issuance of the permit. And a speaker may only address council for a maximum of 3 minutes. And as we have no one in the gallery, I'll look to Ms. Fetzko to see if anybody's indicated a desire to speak online. Thank you. Seeing none, we'll move right along to item 10.1, tax rate bylaw number 2528-2025, and a report from our Director of Finance, Mr. Burdett.
Thank you, Mayor Milligan. Good evening, Council. Few slides from me tonight to accompany the report and bylaw in your agenda package. I'll briefly describe the relationship between a homeowner's assessed value and their property tax. There's a slide to provide a little more clarity on what exactly property tax pays for, both in terms of municipal taxes and the tax we collect on behalf of other taxation authorities. And then lastly, next steps for the property tax process, which is a reminder to council and anyone watching, now that budget bylaw is adopted, this is the last step in this year's process. As per the community charter, we need to have a separate bylaw for property tax rates in order to then put those rates approved in the budget on property tax bills for distribution in mid-May. This and the next slide are repeat slides from previous budget presentations. This slide here is direct from BC Assessment, and it's illustrating how a house increases its assessed value when compared to the average of the city. So it's just saying if your house has gone up by 20%, but the municipal average is 30%, then your taxes will likely decrease or increase by a lesser amount. And the reverse holds true. If your house has gone up by more than the average, then your taxes will go up by slightly more than the average as well. This slide attempts to put that relationship in word form. And so in Fernie this year, the average assessment increase for an average single family home increased by 1.23%. Council adopted a budget with a 7.46% tax increase. And therefore this year, the tax rate goes up by less than 7.46%, so that the city can collect 7.46% more revenue despite assessment values only increasing by 1.23%. So those numbers are actual figures for this year for the city of Fernie. Average assessment value of a single family home is $919,106. This slide is a half donut chart breaking out where the money goes from the average home in Fernie. It's way better than a pie chart. Which I made that joke last year. But for an average residential property in Fernie, which is valued at $919,000, their tax bill for 2025 will be approximately $5,439. Just under half of that, 49.5%, the city collects on behalf of other taxation authorities such as the regional district, the provincial school program, the regional hospital, and two other smaller taxation authorities. One is BC Assessment and the other is the Municipal Finance Authority. I've also split out the cost of the RCMP here, which makes up about 6% of a typical property tax bill. And then the orange section on the right is where the rest of your municipal taxes go, split between items such as reserves, fire and bylaw, general government, which includes city administration and council, public works, parks, facilities, and playgrounds, and so on. Lastly, this slide details the city's increase and the other individual taxation authorities. You see here the 7.46% for the city, which is the result of the budget process the last few months. Of this 7.46%, I would like to remind anyone watching that only 4.31% is due to inflationary pressures facing the city. The remaining 3.15% was from utilizing the rest of our COVID restart funds in 2024 to offset rising costs at the pool. And so those funds are no longer available in 2025. Of note on this slide is the hospital, which is 14.4% increase this year, which is lower than previous years, but still quite high. Regional district increased 3.6%, noting that a couple of years ago they increased 10%. The school is also slowing down, up 3.4%. Last year was 6%. And so the total increase for the average single family residential home in Fernie this year is $287. And that's it. Happy to answer any questions on the report or the process. And the next step after tonight would be adoption on May 13th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burdett. Questions from council? Seeing none, I will ask our corporate officer to read the recommendation.
Yes, Your Worship. The staff recommendation is that tax rates bylaw number 2528/2025 be given first, second, and third readings.
Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor Nixon. Any further discussion? All those in favor? So myself, Councillor McIsaac, Councillor Hamilton, Councillor Nixon, and those opposed. Councillor Ramadas, Councillor Shoesmith, and Councillor Roddy-Kelly. Thank you, Mr. Burdett, and thank you for all the work done on the budget this year. It was a thorough and exhaustive process, so thank you for that. Item 11.1, development variance permit application number DVPA 661 3rd Avenue, Fernie. We have no report accompanies this. For those following along at home who may have seen this at a previous meeting, this is a carport on 3rd Avenue. And I'll look to council first if you have any questions for our Director of Planning who's here. And seeing none, I'll ask our corporate officer to read the recommendation.
The staff recommendation is that council authorise the issuance of the development variance permit number DVP 601 for 661 Third Avenue.
Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor Nixon. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Item 11.2. 2025 Road Rehabilitation Tender Award, a report from Project Engineer Line. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Like you just said, I'm here tonight to get approval to award the roads program contract for construction. Pardon me, I'll get better through the presentation. As recommended by the Pavement Condition Assessment Report of 2 years ago, the roadway chosen for rehabilitation this year is Canyon Trail and Cedar Avenue from Highway 3 up to Bossio Road, as shown on that map image on the right. The rehabilitation does not dramatically change the existing cross section. It's still going to remain one lane of traffic in each direction. From the highway up to the Canyon Trail turnoff, the multi-use pathway will be reconstructed adjacent to the roadway, separated by a concrete barrier, as shown by that bottom illustration. And that is what there is there today. But past the Canyon Trail turnoff, along Cedar Ave up to Bossio Road intersection, a new extension of the multi-use pathway will be built, separated from the road by a boulevard, as seen on the top illustration. Right now, there is no pathway for users. The roadway will be narrowed along this stretch from the existing approximately 8 to 10 meter width of asphalt to 6.6 meters wide of roadway asphalt, and then the boulevard, and then the multi-use pathway. That new boulevard will provide off-road snow storage and safely separate vehicles from pedestrians. Alongside this construction design, we've also been cleaning up 2 items in the background of this project. The first issue, shown on the left, is located at the intersection of Bossio Road and Cedar Avenue. Along Cedar Avenue, the city's existing road is partially built within a private parcel owned by MOT, Ministry of Transportation and
Transit.
Transit. Thank you. It changed and I, did not yet remember the last T. So the city wishes to obtain our typical 20-meter road right-of-way along that stretch of Cedar Avenue to support the existing road alignment and standardize the road right-of-way. And also Bossio Road at that intersection also encroaches on the same parcel. So we have been discussing these encroachments with MOT, and we're working on a land exchange agreement. With the exchange, the yellow areas shown, which are city road right-of-way currently, are going to be swapped with MOT for the turquoise areas, which are pretty much equivalent within a few meters squared. The formalized agreement will be brought to council later this year and will require the city to follow legislative procedure for disposition of city land. This will actually be a road closure, which is interesting because it is part of a road right-of-way, even though it's not actually the closure of a road. MOT has indicated that our project can advance with this agreement in principle as to not hold up our project until the land exchange has been formalized. The second thing we've been cleaning up is at the east end of the project. The road travels through a private parcel, and the 20-meter wide road right-of-way has not been yet dedicated to the city. So staff are working with that parcel owner who is in agreement with this process, and we will undertake a legal survey to complete the dedication. The budget for that survey was identified in this year's project cost and is included in the 2025 budget. Yes?
Sorry, Engineer Line. So just so I understand, on your map in the report, it's the entire section, essentially from near the highway corner, that follows the dotted red lines?
Correct.
Okay, so that is private on either side of that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. So as both of these two issues are currently being resolved and all parties are in favor of the resolutions, we are confident to go forward with the rehabilitation of this roadway at this time. An invitation to tender was issued March 3rd. It closed March 21st. 3 completed tenders were received and reviewed for accuracy by our consultant, ISL. Staff recommend awarding the contract to the low bidder, Okanagan Aggregates. Construction is anticipated to begin mid to late June and must be substantially completed by September 15th. Canyon Trail and Cedar Ave is the main access to 3 neighborhoods up there, Alpine Trails, Parkland Terrace, and Bossio Road. Thus, a big part of the tender was traffic accommodation and limiting disruptions to those communities during the construction. So while there will be a few road shutdowns needed through the construction rehabilitation, they will be kept to a minimum. And there will be an alternative access through West Fernie and along Burma Road that will be signed and utilized. The execution of this project replaces a roadway at the end of its life, as identified in that pavement condition assessment report, and improves the city's active transportation network. And staff are recommending awarding the contract to Okanagan Aggregates. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Line. Questions, comments from council? Councillor Shoesmith.
Thanks, Mayor Milligan. Just a little concerned with the 3.3 meter wide travel width. I drive that pretty well daily. Once we're plowing and stuff, if we're not keeping that back, that gets pretty narrow pretty quick. Is that, I don't know, it's just a concern I have about it. It's quite a dangerous hill at the best of times in the winter, particularly when it's narrowed from plowing.
If I may, when we did do the redesign of that one block of Cedar Avenue, there's curb and gutter on one side, and then these are the standard road widths or lane widths for a collector, which this is a more major road. And then we have the boulevard, curb and gutter and a boulevard, and then the new MUP on the other side. And that was done so that they can plow curb to curb to keep that width as is required.
Councillor Ida Kelly.
Thanks, Your Worship. Engineer Line, just for the sake of the public and transparency, we did some engagement with the folks who will be affected by the road construction.
If I may expand on that? Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. So back in February, we sent out letters, either hand delivered or mailed, to 255 properties, all the properties up at Parkland Terrace, Alpine Trails, and along Bossio Road, to notify them of the upcoming construction project. Now, at that time, we didn't have like who was going to be the contractor, as we are deciding that here today, and exactly when the construction would occur, but we sent them the new cross sections and what was going to be done. So we did get a few comments back, about 5 or 6, and everyone was generally in favor. And then they had other comments about, could you improve the highway? We cannot, it is not our jurisdiction. Could we make the road a little flatter? Unfortunately, with our road right of way, we are really limited, as it is quite a steep hill that's going up, things like that. So there will be future communications that will come from the contractor about those lane closures, full closures, that kind of thing. When the project is actually going to start, that's all part of the agreement with the contractor.
On that note, when there are full closures, will we also advise the folks in West Fernie for whom we will be directing all that traffic through their neighborhood?
If I may, I'm not actually fully sure if we would. We'll have signage up for the detours, and I'm very unsure if we typically notify the area of the detour.
Mr. Baranowski?
I don't believe we've included like direct mail pieces to West Fernie, but I think it would be easy enough to draw a polygon around and do a small single mail out to properties in that neighborhood, or at least to property owners in that neighborhood, just to give them the heads up to watch for news this summer. And as we and the contractor announce work and closures, to understand that it'll impact them. I think it's a valid suggestion and something we should do.
Thank you. Yeah, and just in fairness to them that, you know, a blanket sort of communication at the outset and then direct them where to look for the communication should a full closure or when a full closure happens, just so that they expect it. You know, I know there's children in those neighborhoods, and it'd be nice that everyone knew when the increased traffic flow was going to happen. Thank you. Anything else from council? Councillor Shoesmith.
I am quite tickled at the continuation of the cyclist and pedestrian right away or zone there.
Thank you. Councillor Ramirez.
Thanks, Your Worship. I'm just curious, who was the previous contractor, engineer line for the annex portion last year? Are they the same or different?
If I may, they are different.
Can you remember who the contractor was last year?
The contractor, I believe, was Mar West.
Yeah, that's exactly who it was. Thank you. On that note, I don't know if anybody's brought it to your attention, but there is a manhole cover sitting on a pallet on Rogers' property in the annex. It's been there all winter. So it mustn't have been used during the program, and we probably want to retrieve it before somebody rolls it down the street. Councillor Ramirez.
I did have a follow-up, Your Worship.
Yeah, please.
I was going with something here. Just wondering, did those folks bid for this project too?
The only 3 bids are the ones shown.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Not at all. Councillor Nixon.
Thank you, Worship. Just curious about the response for fire when that road is closed. I mean, they're going to have to. Do we have any idea of response times to the upper parts of Alpine Trails? I mean, I know that the chief's not here, so this is an unfair question, but it just occurred to me now.
If I may, I'll answer about the sidewalks, and then I'll answer about the response time. First, the sidewalks, the contractor hasn't come back yet to finish the deficiencies from last year's sidewalk project. So things that are on site will be picked up. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And secondly, the response time. Typically, whenever there will be a road closure, it will only be for the day's work, and they will open up in the evening. So it's not like we're looking at multiple day road closures, but even during that time, they will be notified of the road closure, and then they will be able to use the other route. And
Any other questions or comments from council? Seeing none, I'll ask our corporate officer to read the recommendation.
Your Worship and Council, the staff recommendation is that Council authorise staff to award the 2025 Roads Program tender to Okanagan Aggregates Limited for $934,450, excluding GST, and that Council authorise the Mayor and Corporate Officer to execute all documentation to execute the contract.
Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor McIsaac. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Line. Moves us on to item 14, correspondence, which is a series of letters a request we've received from the Chamber, our Chamber of Commerce. And perhaps I'll read the first one. Request for a letter of support for the local festivals grant application for Grizz Days 2026. And this requires us not only to send a letter of support, but also complete a form, as I understand it. Okay. I'll get you to read the recommendation first, please, and then we can get it on the table.
Certainly, Your Worship.
Discuss it.
The optional recommendation is that council support the Fernie Chamber of Commerce's application for the Building Communities through Arts and Heritage Local Festivals Funding Program to support the Grizz Days in 2026, and that staff provide a letter of support referencing the city's RMI contribution, and that the corporate officer be authorised to sign the confirmation of support form on behalf of the city.
Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor McIsaac. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. The second is another request for a letter of support to the Destination Events Program grant application for the same event, Grizz Days 2026. So I'll ask our corporate officer to read this recommendation.
Certainly, Your Worship. Again, the optional recommendation is that council support the Fernie Chamber of Commerce's application to the Destination Event Program for Grizz Days, and that staff provide a letter of support to accompany the Chamber's application.
Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor Audie Kelly. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. And then there is one more, a late item, thank you, which is a request for support for application to Etsy BC for funding a downtown business working group. Again, from the Fernie Chamber of Commerce. And if you'll read the recommendation, please.
This optional recommendation is that council support the Fernie Chamber of Commerce's application to the Economic Trust of the Southern Interior, that's Etsy BC, to establish a downtown business working group event, and that council endorse the chamber advancing and leading the initiative to enhance economic development and support the Fernie business community.
Moved by Councillor Audie Kelly, seconded by Councillor Hamilton. Sorry, Mr. Baranowski.
Thank you. I just want to provide clarity that it's not on the chamber, that it's a late item. We had an internal dialogue via email upon the initial receipt of the letter, just to confirm which agenda it was going on, and there was some unclear dialogue that I think left it in question. It's on us in terms of just procedurally, we got it published on the agenda, but later than our original publishing date. So technically, it is later than our first publish, but not a late item as in we weren't waiting for this from the
No.
chamber and anything.
Thanks for that
Yeah.
clarity, Mr. Baranowski. Any discussion? Sorry, it was moved by Councillor Audie Kelly and seconded by Councillor Hammond. Councillor Shoesmith.
Thank you, Mayor Milligan. I think it's excellent that the businesses downtown will start working together on some things. That would be great.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yeah, and it appeared on the Chamber's 2025 priority list this morning at the Chamber AGM. So any other comments? I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Moving right along, we will come to item 15, reports from council members. And I'll begin, if I could, with Councillor Shoesmith.
Not a ton to report since I've been laid up with a bad back, although I do want to say, thanks to the ambulance people and all that, I had a ride from my house to the hospital. One thing that came to light during that ride is we have a lot of potholes, and I gotta say, like, each and every one felt like a personal attack. So to all those people angry at council for potholes, believe me, I definitely felt the pain on that one. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Councillor Shoesmith. Councillor Nixon.
Thank you, Worship. Just on the note of potholes, I was in Edmonton over the weekend and we have nothing compared to Edmonton when it comes to potholes and road. I mean, it's unbelievable there. So count our blessings. I'm sorry for your back. Yeah, I just had to say Happy Earth Day and Happy Earth Week. Do something good for the earth this week. I went to the candidate forum last week at the Park Place. There was about 75 people in attendance. Good job to the Chamber and Park Place for putting it on, and Mayor Milligan for giving the opening remarks again, as he does to almost every single event that I've been to in the last couple of weeks. speaking of the chamber, I want to give some kudos to Wendy and for the AGM that was really well run today. They have about 283 members and looking for about 300. That's their goal for this year. There's lots of highlights there. If you're interested, go to their AGM package and have a look. It's quite good. And then I'm also looking forward to the Association of Kootenay Boundary Local Government this weekend. There's 41 resolutions on the floor to discuss and potentially refer to the Union of British Columbia Municipalities in September. It's such an interesting process of advocacy. I'm really looking forward to the discussions on the floor. So, and I want to just wish everybody a happy Monday. This Monday, upcoming Monday is election day. So get out there and vote.
Mhm. Thank you, Councillor Nixon. Councillor Audie Kelly.
Thanks, Your Worship. I haven't been as busy the last little bit as I lost my mom a couple of weeks ago. So apologies to the community that I haven't been out and about as much. I did attend the Chamber AGM, not to put more coats paint on it, but I think Wendy is doing an excellent job. Miss McDougall, I should be more formal. And I really like the forward thinking that the Chamber displayed this morning, talking about economic development. I'm kind of really excited about that. I will be attending a biodiversity conference tomorrow with the Elk Valley Métis Nation. So I'm excited to be doing that. And I will be attending a tourism board meeting on Thursday morning. So I'll have an update for folks from tourism with their news after attending that meeting. And of course, yep, there's a KBLG this weekend in Kimberley, and should be hopefully a very informative conference. Thanks, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McIsaac.
Thank you, Your Worship. I too will throw another coat of paint on and just compliment the Chamber on an excellent AGM this morning. That was very, I think Councillor Audie Kelly nailed it with very forward looking, and the communication from Mr. Jared Basil was very well received in the room and very interesting. I'm also looking forward to AKBLG this weekend, particularly looking forward to Thursday. This is a new thing that AKBLG is doing. We have a full day education on infrastructure. And if people have been following along in budgets for the last number of years, they will recognize the fact that infrastructure for our community, and not just us, for every community in British Columbia and pretty much across Canada, is at crisis. We have facilities that have closed because we don't have the financial ability to keep them open, and that is likely to continue and is happening in other places as well. So, you know, here tonight we're passing a budget bylaw with a tax increase that none of us are happy about. You know, none of us would like to see a tax level this one, but we are in the position where it's either abandoned today or abandoned in the future, and we've got to make it, and we're making a choice. So I'm hoping to hear good information at the education seminar, a bunch of ideas that people will have and opportunities for us to take advantage of, so we can keep our tax burden manageable and keep our infrastructure up to date now and in the future. So thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Raminas.
Nothing to report here, Your Worship.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Well, I too was at the Fernie Chamber of Commerce AGM this morning. Also attended the all candidate forum that the Chamber put on last week, which was really well attended. I also attended the Fire Hall's open house. I believe that was 2 weeks ago now, which on the Saturday had a number of people show up and were quite shocked. The people that I spoke to about the actual process that our response team goes through at the moment in order to respond to any calls come in. And interestingly enough, they did have a call for a fire come in while we were there, a grass fire out outside of the city limits, but they had to respond and, shall we say, organize all of the public out of their way while they took care of that. And yeah, as Councillor McIsaac mentioned, I'm really looking forward to AKBLG, but in particular, the information event on Thursday about infrastructure.
Thank you, Councillor. So pretty much everything I have to report has already been covered. The All Candidates Forum, the one thing I would comment on was, one, it was incredibly well attended, and then two, the number of young people that were in that crowd was really impressive. Even some of the organizers were surprised and impressed by the number of young people who came out. So that was a good feedback from that event. Chamber AGM, again, excellent event. Kudos to their executive director, Wendy McDougall, for the effort she put in and the information provided. And again, the presentation on cultural safety and cultural humility from Jared Basil, I thought was excellent. AKBLG, of course, this weekend, same thing. Very much looking forward to it. And again, thank you, Councillor Nixon, the federal election coming up on the 28th. And advanced polls, people turning out in record numbers. So very encouraging turnout for folks. And yeah, get out and vote. Very important for this nation. With that, I will ask our corporate officer to read the following recommendation.
That the meeting be closed to the public pursuant to Section 91A of the Community Charter, as the subject matter being considered at this time relates to personal information about an identifiable individual who holds or is being considered for a position as an officer, employee, or agent of the municipality or any other position appointed by the municipality.
Can I step back one moment? Because I apologize to our youth counselor. I didn't call on you. You're so quiet. No, it's not your fault. It's entirely on me.
That's okay.
Do you have anything you'd like to report?
I've been kind of busy. At the library, we just did Rabbits and Baskets, one of our biggest events of the year. It was a massive
Sorry,
success.
rabbits and baskets?
Rabbits and Baskets.
Well
It's
done.
at the library. We had over 200 people come. It was kind of crazy. I had so much fun as the children's programmer there. Keep looking at our library. We have a lot of fun events coming up. And then today at our school was our trash bash, which I personally organized and ran. We sent kids all around Fernie to collect garbage and everything. And I think it was a massive success. And tomorrow I'll be heading out to the district student advisory committee meeting where we talk about district school issues that are faced all around the Kootenays. So that's what I'm up to tomorrow.
Thank you, youth counselor. I apologize. I apologize to you as well, because I'll make you read that one more time. Oh, we have a mover. Okay, sorry. Seconded by Councillor Hamilton. Any discussion? Councillor Ramdas.
I just got one point to make to your earlier comment about the record turnout, Your Worship. It says 25% increase from 5.8 million in 2021 election to about 7.2 million this year.
Yeah,
It's a remarkable increase.
excellent. Yeah. Yes,
Locally, 2,300 people came through the doors here to vote.
excellent. Good news. With that, all those in favor? We'll now move into closed. So thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening, and thanks for staff who now have to skedaddle.